Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Erin Jones. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about transitioning your baby from bassinet to crib. So I hope you guys are excited for a few tips that I have that have made it such an easy transition for my baby. But before we get to that, I want to share my time at the aquarium with my husband. My mom came along and my baby. We had so much fun. There was so many different interactive things that you could do there. We got to see some turtles and we got to see some sharks and some stingrays. Just like such a fun experience. You just take it really slow and enjoy your time there. And at the end we got some ice cream and it was all made for us, so like futuristic, very cool. And yeah, overall we just had such a great time, just something to do in Toronto while we were there visiting my husband's work. For the first time everyone got to meet our baby and we had such a great time in Toronto. Definitely would go back. Okay, so I just want to get into a few things about transitioning your baby from bassinet to crib. I just want to start off by saying everyone's situation is different. Some people might not even have their baby in a bassinet to start. So I'm just going off of my full experience and hopefully you can learn something from it. So let's start off from the beginning. When we brought Avery home, I had her in a bassinet next to my bed. I had the UppaBaby bassinet, which is linked to the stroller, just super easy. It's not completely different. I didn't want 1,000 different things in my home, so I'm just happy that I could transition her from the bassinet and then click it into the stroller to go on walks. So that's what we used and I really like it. I'm so happy we have it, and if we have another baby, they'll be in the same thing. So that is number one. I was happy to just have something that I could transition for walks and for in the house. I also did get the stand from UppaBaby, which I absolutely do enjoy it so much. There's a space underneath to put anything that you need, any towels, cloths, that type of thing. And once you're done with the bassinet, you can buy laundry hamper inserts, which I haven't bought yet, but I will soon. They're just really expensive, like $100, but I will be buying them very soon because I've realized how much we need them because our current laundry hamper is no good. Anyways, you can buy them and I'm going to show you what they look like here. It's awesome. It's a very transitional bassinet space that I can also use, and I kind of thought of that thinking forward that I would use it for our laundry, and then if another baby comes along, we have it again. So that is the purpose for me getting the stand as well. I really like it, and I would suggest it to anyone who's thinking of doing that so that you can, it's a multi-purpose item for you guys in your household. So when Avery got home, she was in the bassinet and she was born in February, and then in June, so 4 months after, almost to the day, we transitioned her from bassinet to crib. It wasn't really by choice. It was such a sad moment and very emotional moment for me. Because I wake up every day next to her, and if she ever needed something, pop a soother in the middle of the night, like I would do that for her because she was right next to me. You know, you do the whole hand movement, oh there you go, and you just give it to them. So I already knew that her transitioning to the crib, I'd be getting up in the middle of the night to give her soother, and then there's the possibility also of like falling in between the cracks of the crib. Anyways, I'm going off topic here. She was in the bassinet from February till June, so that's 4 months. And what I did to prepare myself for her to be used to the crib is I had a routine. So every morning when I got her up in the morning from the bassinet, I would go change her in her room. So what I would do is I would change her diaper in her nursery, and then I would place her in her crib to change her into her clothes, because one, less of a safety risk from changing her and, you know, trying to grab things, clothes here and there to put on her. So I'd place her in the crib, I would go pick out her clothes for the day, and I would change her in the crib, all of her clothes that day. If I had another change halfway through the day, I would make sure to put her in the crib and do that after the diaper. So that was one way of getting her used to it. And then another thing was when she went down for some of her naps, definitely not all because she was still so young and she liked to snuggle me and being next to me or on me, but I would slowly transition, like 1 nap a day would be in the crib. And even if it was for 20 minutes and she didn't enjoy it, I would do it because it's just an easy way for her to to get familiar, have her own scent on the crib sheet as well, and just get her to understand that this is a safe spot to be. And so I would do that once a day, have her in the crib, and then it kind of transitioned to like 2 naps in the crib a day near the end. And everyone like freaks out about, oh my god, wait till you transition to the crib, it's gonna be such a hard night. To be honest, the first week she was so good. She literally would put her in the crib and like she would maybe cry for a soother here and there, but she really enjoyed the crib, and I was so thankful. And then she went into a sleep regression, and that kind of sucked because we were up lots in the night with her for like at least 2 to 3 weeks, and that was a little hard because you're getting up and going to another room and having to put her back to sleep that way. But after the sleep regression passed, she was back to sleeping in her crib perfectly fine. So just like my main tips in general is just make sure your baby is familiar with their crib, because they love their bassinet. It's so tight and cozy, and they just love the darkness. And I wanted to talk to you about when you think you should transition your baby. Obviously, it's fully up to you and whatever you think is best for your baby. I have 3 reasons why I transitioned my baby from bassinet to crib at 4 months. And it's not because, ooh, it's 4 months and you should transition your baby. So here they are. The first reason is because she could barely move in there. Like, she was getting pretty big, and like her movements were like this. And you could tell she wanted to roll, but she couldn't because it's such a tight space, which is also very risky, because if she did roll, she might not be able to roll back because it was such a tight space for her. So we knew that was number 1. We were like counting down the days. We're like, we gotta do this, and the next day we gotta do this, we gotta do this. The second reason was she was definitely getting too long, so she was able to push her body and wiggle it up and down in the middle of the night, and I would wake up every morning and her head would be like smushed at the top, and she had like this much space at the bottom, but she would just continue to push herself up and up, and I just felt really bad that her head was getting smushed. So I was like, obviously it is time to transition to the crib. Like, you're smushing your head every morning. And then the third reason is my monitor actually notified me and said it's time for your baby to switch to the crib. And the reason for that is because it keeps track of the length of your baby. Doesn't matter if they're in the bassinet, a crib, wherever they are, the monitor actually tracks the length, and they figured out the spacing between her head and her feet from the bassinet, and it was just like, yeah, you gotta move on to a crib. So especially when we got that notification, we were already thinking it in our head like we should transition her. So that is why we transitioned her, those 3 reasons. And I'm happy we did it when we did, because I kind of gave myself a week to like understand that it was gonna happen, because it's very emotional when you're sleeping next to them and like you literally check on them multiple times a night, because you never know. And yeah, so when we transitioned her, I was like really sad, but also happy that she had way more space. Like, it was almost like her head was getting smushed in the morning, that I was like, no, like this needs to happen. And I was happy that we did it. So Avery transitioned into the crib in June, and now we're in September. And yesterday we transitioned her crib from the highest level to a mid level. There's 3 different levels on our crib. I know all of them are different. It's taken her almost 7 months to move down to the next section. And the reason for that is she's starting to sit up on her own, and that's kind of like when you know you need to lower your crib. But the main concern for me this past week, which has given me lots of anxiety, is that she's trying to grab herself and pull herself up on the crib, and like when she's sitting down she can like move her legs up and they're like flapping at the top, and it just like freaked me right out. So that was my indicator, I need to put the crib down. So my husband put it down yesterday, and I already feel less stressed. He's the one who's like, I'm gonna break my back. I'm like, you're much taller than me, I'm gonna break my back. But honestly, it's worth it. The safety concern and the stress is not worth keeping them at a higher height, because she could easily somehow grab herself up and like fumble over in the middle of the night. So I didn't want that. So yeah, so basically for myself, my transitions were 4 months from bassinet to crib, and then just under 7 months from top of the crib, lowering it down to the second spot. So I'm very happy with how everything's transitioned. She has no problem from being up high to much lower, because it is quite low now. But those are the transitions so far, and I can't believe she's gonna be 7 months in a couple days. It's blowing my mind, and I just love my little baby. They grow up so fast. You know, every step to something new, that's for that's not familiar with them. You just have to learn and figure out ways that you think they'll be more comfortable. So for me, it was placing her in the crib to change her clothes every day, and then a nap here and there just for her to get familiar and know that's a safe spot. Another thing I did, which I forgot to mention, is whenever I had laundry for her, I would fold it and I would put it away while she was in the crib, and I'd throw a few toys in there for her to play with and kind of be distracted with, so she's not just staring at me like outside of the crib. That way she knew also that it was a safe space and that you don't need to cry while you're in there as well. So that's something you can do too, a little bit of playtime in there during the day when she isn't supposed to be napping. I don't think there's any harm in that as well. So yeah, my transition was pretty awesome. No complaints there. I know for some moms it's a little bit harder, but I hope that there were some tips in here that have helped you guys, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. That's everything. Bye now.